All right. So today we're going to be talking about the California recall. I got a couple of interesting little facts here I wanted to bring up about it, and then I'd open it up to the floor and see what we got on it as far as what you guys think.
Well, all right, go ahead.
No, you got something? Let's start right with it. What do you got?
Bring your facts first.
Yeah, bring your facts up first.
Okay. So a couple of quick things. First one in 20 years. The last one actually led to Arnold being elected. That was 2003 through 2011 was Arnold's term.
Best thing that's ever happened to California.
You're probably not too far off, because he was
Governor.
actually one of the most liberal governors California's ever known.
He ran as a Republican.
Oh yeah, an ultra-conservative Republican. Actually, he ran as a middle-of-the-road
Yeah.
Republican. Winner will be in office until 2023. This is the big one. Could appoint a new U.S. Senator. Dianne Feinstein will be 90 by 2023.
That doesn't apply anymore because we know that Larry Elder lost, or the recall lost.
Yeah, the way the recall actually works is if to get the recall started, you have to have 12% of turnout for the last gubernatorial election. So when they voted Gavin Newsom in, 12% of the amount of people that voted in that election, that's the threshold that they have to reach. It ended up being 1.5 million. And they ended up getting 1.7 million signatures. But funny thing about that is they were able to get a 4-month extension because of the Rona. The only way they were able to make that number is because they were able to get an extension on signatures. And it was only 1.5 billion people, or I'm sorry, million people.
Yeah.
And California's like 40 million people.
Right.
So I just thought that was funny. They basically got twice as much time to get the signatures.
Well, I mean, I'm sure Rona did
Oh yeah.
make getting signatures harder than normal.
What I was going to say in the beginning was, and I think there's a lot of people like me where, why did he get recalled? I know that there was this whole fiasco of him being at a fucking restaurant. It was called the French Laundry, while the whole state was on lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that can't be the only thing, right?
No, I mean, I can list off quite a few.
Of course, yeah. Go ahead.
I mean,
I got a couple
here
things
for,
here
right?
as well. But
voice
yeah.
of the opposition. So he also shut down lots of businesses, but
Mhm.
his own winery, his family's winery, he gave an exemption to, where they didn't have to shut down.
Yeah, deemed
Hollywood he
crucial.
gave exemptions to, where they could do things like there's a famous video of a lady who owned a restaurant and she wanted to dine outside, and they shut her down. Like, no, you can't have dine outside. And then literally right next to her restaurant in the parking lot, Hollywood set up this huge craft thing where they were shooting and they were able to dine outside. And she's like, why are they able to she's literally filming it, they're set up right here,
Right.
and I'm not allowed to run a restaurant and serve people outside, things like that. But yeah, the economy was really bad. The homeless
lockdowns.
problem is out of control.
But the homeless problem has been out of control for
Sure.
decades. It's
Yeah,
not just
yeah.
solely his problem.
Yeah, well, I'm just
And the
bringing up
can
problems
the can gets kicked down the road from one governor to the next. And
Yeah,
it's-
and that,
but that's
that,
part of it, yeah.
Newsom is, just
Things they can
it's
throw into
musical
the
chairs,
fire.
him
Yeah.
at the end, where it's gotten to that tipping point where we were hoping, but California is an extremely deep blue state, so the
It's
recall happening was against all odds. I mean,
Well, I got a couple funny more things about the recall.
Alexander with a 38% were voted to recall Newsom, and they need 50%, so they're 12% off. But and then Larry Elder would have won if they would have gotten the 50% threshold.
It's
Yeah,
true.
by
It
far.
does go to whoever received the most amount of votes
Yeah, after
after.
once
Yeah.
they vote to recall.
Yep. And I'm not sure how it ended. I will say that Larry Elder was about to get it if it would have gone through. It was 2-1 against the recall going forward. But every governor for the last 60 years has had recall, at least started against them. And this would have been the only one in history, the second one, since the start of 1911, if it would have gone through.
Yeah. No, and they ended up with 38% of the state saying they wanted to recall, but where they were expecting, because usually Democrats if they're not motivated to go out and vote, they won't. But they had a bigger than expected turnout of Democrats supporting Newsom than they thought they would.
Yeah.
Well, I from what I heard and read here and there, a couple of things that went against the Republicans were that they were, against face masks, non-mandatory vaccines.
They were against mandates, so
Yeah,
they weren't.
well, but that's what however you want to classify it or put it together. Those things are
But there is a
popular
distinction there.
in California.
Yeah.
If
True.
and what
Mitigation
Newsom,
measures they-
well, and the thing what
Yeah.
Newsom was doing, he was saying, hey, look at these red states like Florida and Texas, how they have an increase in COVID cases and this and that. Do you want that here?
Yeah.
And that
Yeah,
kind of
but
backfired on
do you want
Republicans.
Trump
But like
policies.
California did
Right.
have increases, just like Florida, which
I-
is what Larry Elder and stuff was saying, is that like the shutdowns weren't working, they never did work.
Uh-huh.
Larry Elder is for face masks, he's for vaccines, he is against mandates,
Mhm.
but private businesses absolutely can require face masks. He never had a problem with that. He's purely against vaccines. But to your point, there was a lot of Democrats that, yes, the optics, they did show up to vote against Larry Elder because they were solidly in favor of a lot of those things.
Or-
I do agree with you there. And they were hoping as many Democrats wouldn't show up because they just either didn't care or maybe they were sick of it, but they weren't going to show up to vote. They just weren't going to vote at all.
Well, yeah, I think in any other scenario that would have happened, but because from what Trump did, and so now that's become a huge dragging force for Democrats to go out and vote. It's like, hey,
Well,
No,
to that.
do you want this to happen again? Because
That was
he
how
blamed
that was how
Democrats.
he actually ran.
Right.
Is he was saying, "Oh, it's the Trump lies," and to that point, the Republican lobby and Larry Elder were already complaining about fraud in the election before the vote took place.
Yeah,
They also
it's
have.
pretty standard for elections now.
Well, it's
on
pretty
both
standard for
sides.
conservatives. in
No, it's
elections
both
now.
sides. I remember the governor, Stacey
Stacey
Abrams.
Abrams? What year was that
refused-
again?
That was in Georgia.
I
She
said
still-
what year, not where.
Like literally 2 years ago. Like,
Mm,
yeah,
mm,
yeah. Like it was extremely recent.
Are you saying
she
if we-
was introduced by the DNC at their for this last election? She was introduced as the real governor of Georgia because
Well-
they still say that there was enough fraud in that election that she should have been governor, even though she lost by hundreds of thousands of votes.
Well, I don't think fraud is what they were saying. Was the
No,
problem
that
with
is
it.
literally, they
I
said
think they were
suppression
saying
of
voter
voting,
suppression,
which
is different than fraud.
Well, it's-
fraud's
it's one
illegal
side-
votes
yeah.
that are cast. Voter suppression is stopping people that are
Yeah.
legally
Yeah.
allowed
Which
to vote from voting.
There's
a
counts the same
big
thing where
difference.
you're saying that there was
No,
a
no.
conspiracy to change
See,
the vote.
There are no alternative facts here.
No.
Because fraud is a way.
Fraud is like illegally casting
Right,
a
me
vote.
casting your vote and saying I'm you.
Yeah,
that's
but
fraud.
So
Suppression-
African Americans overrepresented in that election. They were not suppressed. They had a higher percentage of votes than any other minority group. There's no evidence, absolutely none, that their votes were suppressed. And yet they will still say it, just like there are Republicans, I do agree, that would say that there is fraud
If you say
without evidence.
right.
And I don't think
But
there's
to
evidence
say
of massive fraud.
Yeah, to
that
say
means-
fraud and voter suppression
I
is the
agree,
same
there is a
thing.
difference in
Right.
kind, but essentially it means the same thing, that you're accusing the other party of rigging the game in their favor. And that's
Now,
pretty
rigging
standard
the
for
game,
elections.
I would say yes.
Yeah.
Because, Republicans love to use gerrymandering.
Yeah.
Whereas
Well, both parties.
Both parties do.
Both
That's
parties
right.
do, yeah, but
I mean,
that's a form of
yeah.
rigging the game as well.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's not fraud because it's not illegal to
Mhm.
do those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, what I
Yeah.
think the sticking point on this one, Garrett, is fraud and voter suppression, while in your mind may surmount to the same thing, calling the other side out for shenanigans. there's a very big difference between what fraud is.
Definitionally,
and what,
yes, I agree with you.
not definition. Voter suppression is stopping people who should be able to vote from voting. Voter fraud is illegally casting votes.
I
Those
agree.
are two completely
I agree by
separate
definition.
things.
They're two different things.
Yeah, they may
Like,
be used very similarly.
Yeah, I'm just
rhetoric.
making the point that both sides use their particular brand of, whatever, like for, Republicans they say it's voter fraud, for the Democrats they say it's voter suppression. There's no evidence of either, and both parties do more than they should claim these things, even though there's no evidence of either of those things.
I think there's more evidence of voter suppression than there is of voter
Well,
fraud.
That's true. There's no argument in that one because there's all kinds of voter suppression. There's very little, if any, voter fraud.
It's hard to measure voter suppression. Fraud is when you find ballots like that are fraudulently made. Like it's easy to prove.
There was that case where this guy, I don't know what state, took his dead mother's voting card and wrote it in for her.
Yes,
and sent it in. That's voter fraud.
That's voter fraud. Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then that kind of evidence in our system is very little.
Yeah.
There's
practically
not much.
I agree.
Now, but we can't say that there's zero voter fraud because
there's voter fraud.
Yeah, we also don't really look a lot for voter fraud because most of voter fraud happens in local elections. It's harder to affect like the presidential election because you don't know where you need the votes. A lot of voter fraud happens in local elections where literally 12, 15 votes can actually matter to these like county clerk or whoever's running. And they found a lot of the small elections just on a small scale.
Well, I can see what you're saying. Local elections are probably a lot easier to rig.
Yeah, they are, and there's a lot more.
But, yeah,
there's a lot less.
We're not talking.
On
Yeah,
as well.
You're talking like
exactly
county recorder for God only knows where.
Yeah,
we're not talking about like senator seats.
No, yeah,
governors or mayors.
And that's where there's very little evidence of because in order for fraud to even matter in those elections, they have to prove that the fraud would have affected the outcome.
Yeah, would have affected.
Like when a lot of the lawsuits got thrown out of court, it wasn't because there wasn't evidence of fraud. It was just that evidence wouldn't amount to actually changing the outcome of the election.
So little actual fraud in the election that it has no effect on the outcome of the election.
But I think
they're talking about literally out of millions of votes, a handful of fraudulent votes.
Yeah, I mean,
and they find literally like all of them. And that's the thing, is it's always, like you said, it's always somebody voting for a dead relative because you have 1 year before they fall off of the records, right? Because once you're dead at the end of the year, it gets shuffled around the computer.
Well, that's the other thing, and I think I've heard you bring that up before, is they don't recycle, because there's like dead people on the voter registry.
Depends on the state.
Well, they do. Every state does.
Well, some do and some don't. Like sometimes, they're on there for years.
Years is like it's like an election cycle. It's not like for 4 decades. Oh, my dead relative has been. Yeah. It's like from one election to the next. So that's like 2 years.
And we could say, there's always room for improvement.
Yes, nobody's in argument with that.
Yeah.
Anything can always be done better.
Yeah. Well, the hypocrisy is, Democrats will say. Voter fraud doesn't matter because it's not enough numbers, but to their thing, it's like, well, if one person's vote is suppressed because you have a certain amount of standards that you have to prove who you are to vote, then that person should not be disenfranchised. It's like, look, you can't go both ways.
Think about it like this:
if one fraud vote matters, it's 1 and 1. And it's such an easy common ground, and this is what drives me crazy. It's such a common sense common ground where we can all say, look, you have to prove who you are when you vote. Every country does it. It would stop, the voter fraud, and it's not voter suppression.
Well, but I would again argue that point
things.
in a couple of things. For one, even to register to vote, you have to show a picture ID to a government agent. You usually do it when you get your driver's license.
Depends on the state.
If you look up the requirement for every state,
some you only need to come with a utility bill. Now, I agree.
No. To register to vote. Not to actually cast a ballot.
Yes, but nobody they don't always check ID at the ballot box. So they
don't need to check ID at the ballot box because if you're a registered voter, your vote can only be counted once. So if Ulysses went and voted 3 times in the same election, he would, one, get in trouble because they would catch his vote 3 times, but it would only be counted once. They might actually not count his vote at all.
Yeah, but
because it would
what
come
if
up as a
somebody is stealing
problem.
his ID and then casts a vote in his name,
And then
it's already been, so his vote gets thrown out?
No,
for
because then he goes and votes, and then because there's a problem, both votes would be taken down.
Exactly.
Then there's
but
a
that
period.
takes away Yuli's vote, because if you're voting for different people...
No, because then there's a rectification period where you can call up or you can get on the website, and if there's a problem with your vote, you have a chance to make it right.
Because I vote through mail.
Yeah, I vote by mail.
And they do have a website that you can go and check to see if your vote has been counted or not.
Yep.
Or if there's any discrepancies.
Yeah,
on
in
there.
Arizona, we do mail-in ballots pretty well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because we're a
we've
heavily
been doing it
conservative
for a
state
long time.
with an elderly population.
Yeah.
And it makes so much more sense. Like,
Do you think we still have a bigger elderly population than?
well,
Florida's the biggest, but we still have a...
I know,
Well, not but just within our state.
I think it's abnormally
It's starting
large.
to.
Yeah,
Well, I hate
you're
to
right,
use the
because
word
there's so many
dwindle.
people moving in that
Yeah.
it's
Starting
kind
to
of
blend.
balancing more.
No,
It's starting to
but-
mix.
it's starting to die off. No, I'm just
No, that's the problem. They're not.
the air's too clean.
The hot take.
I don't think. Yeah, well, I think a lot of the benefits from moving to the valley for old people back in the day, the
Was-
dry air,
Right.
all these things have kind of been negated by so many people moving here.
Yeah.
Because
They're
there's
bringing
probably
their native plants.
flora, fauna. It's a
Yeah.
lot more humid.
Because you used to come here
It's
to
a
get
lot
away
hotter.
from
all that
all the
stuff.
allergies.
Yes.
allergies
Yeah.
and right.
But cost of living is relatively inexpensive out here compared
very
to a
cheap.
lot
Oh,
of
absolutely.
other larger
California,
metropolitan
Chicago.
areas. So a lot of
New
people
York.
would retire here just because you sell your $1 million home in California, your 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 800 square foot, and you come out here and you buy a $500,000 mansion, and then you got $500,000 in the bank, you know, and it's like you own it outright.
But yeah, I think that is becoming more rare, and there's so many young people moving to Arizona.
Yeah, again, just because cost of
I
living.
mean, our biggest demographic moving here used to be like elderly, and now it's all young people moving there.
That's what we need.
But yeah, I mean, it's there's good and bad in that.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, ultimately, yeah, you don't want a state that's unbalanced heavily. Like Florida has the highest percentage of elderly
Senior citizens.
Yeah, and then I think it's
Just a couple more funny things before we move on. Newsom got caught at a lobbyist's birthday party.
Oh, and I got one too after,
Okay.
which was the Bizarro World Rose McGowan coming out and endorsing Larry Elder out of left field.
Yeah, she's just trying to stay relevant.
Did you see that though? It
I
was,
saw the headline for it. I didn't read the article though. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is so stupid.
No, like it
Who
was
gives
funny.
a shit?
No,
Rose McGowan.
to her point, like her speech was actually pretty good. Like she's definitely crazy, and it's
Well,
it's
you
funny,
know-
but like Hollywood, like you can tell, like Hollywood is like made her crazy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just
And-
like all of her
Well, yeah.
experiences there.
well,
But
but
she
think
was
about-
talking about how like, you know, she's worked in the upper echelons of like different lobbying groups in Washington, and how alike both parties are when
Yeah.
it comes to like lobbying and all the bullshit in Washington. And she supported Larry Elder not because he was a Republican, but because like she really felt like he's a moral person, and you know, you may not agree with his ideas, but you know, and she actually accused Gavin Newsom's current wife, of trying to bribe her before the story of Weinstein came out. And
Oh, 'cause
like,
she was
what
one of the
will it
victims,
take
yeah.
to make you happy? And so that was kind of a bombshell too. So that, and she did bring up the point that, you know, all my life, like, you know, I've been against Republicans, but when I look back at my life, like, everybody that's ever hurt me was a Democrat. So that was kind of an interesting point.
Yeah, but see,
Well, but it's not a point in the
I know.
of Republicans. It just means that both, like, you can't base, you know, everything on just who's what party. Like,
well,
you need
that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I don't like Republicans and Democrats. That's stupid.
Yeah.
I like liberals and conservatives because there's conservative Democrats and there's liberal Republicans.
that's fair.
And so I'm more ideology than party because think of like Joe Manchin or like what cinema claims to be. I'm middle of the road. Oh, I'm a conservative Democrat.
Right.
So no, I don't like that. I like conservative. I like liberal. I like those kind of actual, denominators or whatever. All right, this one will be a local story. Sports betting has just been legalized in Arizona. I guess legalized is probably not the right way to put it, but it just became legal to bet on sports in Arizona. The timeline, May 2018, the Supreme Court of the United States overturned ban on sports betting, Sports Protection Act. Of course, it's unconstitutional to stop people from betting on sports. January 2019, Senate Bill 1158, tribes offer sports betting. This was done by Sonny Borelli and 2 other senators. Voted down. February 2020, a second attempt, Senate Bill 1525, again Sonny and Steve Purka. That one actually went through. March 2021, Arizona House Bill approves a bipartisan House Bill 2772. That's the bill that we have now that allows gambling in Arizona. April 2021, governor signs into law. June 2021, the Arizona Department of Gaming, the ADG, announces it will begin September 9th, 2021. That day, tribes sue the ADG, claiming it will hurt revenue. They actually threw the case out because the tribes were unable to show proof, but the state was actually able to show proof that if they weren't allowed to go through with their sports gambling, it would actually hurt the state. So the whole case got thrown out because the Supreme Court of Arizona deemed it would actually hurt the state of Arizona to stop the bill from going through.
You can push that on.
I was going to say, with our local casinos, were you able to put in a sports bets?
Yeah, that was my question as well.
Well, you want to look it up?
Yeah, can you
the guy behind the computer?
on the? I think I did see this Talking Sticks building.
Because I don't remember there being you being able to put
This is specifically off reservation betting and online betting. So this is
Why just be like?
entities that
But
aren't.
no, but because I think casinos like before, or I don't know. You couldn't have a legitimate roulette table.
Yes.
You'd have to play like a computer one.
Okay.
And or craps was another one. So if you walk into a Arizona casino,
It'd only be cards and slots.
Right, slot machines, blackjack, 3-part poker, and 21. That's what.
Yeah, they don't even have Keno, do they?
No, I think they did have Keno. They do
because
have
it's
Keno, but that was it though. I don't remember there being a way to.
What I got from this,
What I find it interesting is that they would be against it, but they could set up their own sports booking as well. It'd be like something else as a feature for people to go and gamble.
I think they're trying to keep it all on the res, and because they're giving out 28 licenses that aren't reservation.
Yeah.
So for people off res to have gambling, and I think
But just sports books though.
sports books. That's
sports
exactly
betting.
correct. That's
It
exactly.
doesn't mean you're gonna have slot
Just sports
machines.
books. Nope.
Yeah, because people are still going to
Yep.
go into the casinos physically.
Because my mom likes to gamble. She's not gonna have sports book. She's still gonna go to the casino.
Yeah, and that's exactly. I think they were just trying to
$100
keep
on a
it.
slot machine.
Yeah.
They'll still get that revenue. They'll get that senior citizen revenue.
Yeah. It's Social Security.
Social Security money going. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they got that locked down. So I don't understand why they tried to. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I
They
think just
thought
to
they
monopolize
were
the
going
market,
to.
yeah.
Right.
You know the drill. They don't want other people to get in on it because then once sports betting goes off res, then other kinds can go off res, and then maybe
No, I
we
don't
already
think
have
other
sports
kinds are going
books.
to go
And
off rest.
Yeah.
it's hard to say. I'm sure that was their argument,
Right.
is that it's going to hurt their revenue because people are going to be betting on off res. It's the 16th market in the country to legalize online betting. And then there were some funny things in the wording. The ADG is to establish a few, this is how they word it, for the privilege of operating event wagering. And there's actually a monthly fee, is kind of how they made it seem, for betting. So if you have a book, like a sports book, I think you said it was called, you have to potentially pay a monthly fee And it's probably a percentage that goes to the state. That 8% is probably what it is. But there's probably a fee on top of it.
Well, yeah, I'm sure the government is getting their money on the back end from.
Well, like you said, there was an
I don't think
estimated
that's
from the
150
consumer
mil.
I don't
itself.
think that's a fee on the consumer. That's a fee on the
The
license.
license.
Well, I'm sure it's
Right.
both.
No,
You'll
no,
have
no.
the taxes because you're for your income
Mm-hmm.
for the consumer.
Well, that's
and
if you
then,
win.
Yeah,
The tax if you lose.
yeah.
Tax you on money lost.
They take your house. 'Cause
That's double taxation. You can't double tax a single tax.
Yeah.
And one of the other ones I thought was funny I mentioned earlier was you can't bet on injuries. Can't bet on injuries, no esport betting.
I mean, can you do that in Vegas? I wasn't aware you could do that in Vegas either.
Maybe on the
Specific-
outskirts of Vegas when it's
Yeah.
shady. Or,
Yeah, like-
Yeah, it's just specifically written into the law
Yeah.
that there's no betting on injuries.
Yeah.
I think that's a good. I mean, I don't think you should be betting on injuries.
And something else too is it's up to the licensee to develop a procedure to inform people of the dangers of gambling. And I hate this because this is a regulatory committee, Arizona Department of Gaming. I'm sure they have a department head and a handful of internal departments and half an army's full of people,
Yeah.
and
Well,
they can't even write their own goddamn procedures.
No, what it is you're basically forcing the people that are, you know, the sports books are
To
creating
assume
another layer of
responsibility,
bureaucracy
yeah.
that like funds these government programs, which they love because then it's jobs for the government, all these other things, and it just creates another level of bureaucracy and oversight essentially of the sports books. But then they can say, look, we have these programs in place. We told people
force
the
them
dangers
to
of betting.
Put these programs
So-
in place.
Yeah, you know, people
Instead of
pay
doing it
attention to
ourselves.
them.
Isn't
It's
that
like
what the
dare,
tax dollars
you
should
know,
be
yeah.
used for?
Yeah.
You guys are talking over each other.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Jinx. No, I was just saying, yeah, it's like, you know, people understand that drugs are bad, they still do them. Like, people understand alcohol. Like, there's no class that you're going to give people that is going to stop them from doing it. I think it is good that we have programs like AA, essentially, but for gamblers.
It's
Gamblers
next.
Anonymous.
No,
Yeah.
I think it's called like Next Step.
There's already a program set up by the state. I hear the phone number for it on the radio.
Yeah, and all the ads. You know, and as soon as it became legal, and then I understand it, but you got ads everywhere, and it's heavily ads. Like
Well,
television, radio.
It's probably
Uh,
subsidized by the state. So if you get somebody to come into your program, you probably get money from the state for it. So you could probably file for a grant from the state to make the commercials, and then once people call you, you get paid by the state.
No, I'm talking about like MGM, Caesars.
Yeah, he's talking about.
Oh, the actual sports betting itself.
Yeah.
Oh,
all the advertisement, like
Yeah.
it just came in like a flash.
No,
flood.
they will make those guys pay for advertisement of like gamblers' addiction too, which is part of it. You know, like the cigarette companies, they pay for all the anti-cigarette ads, essentially. So you'll see that too. But yeah, we were talking about that earlier, where they're using, you know, the memes to advertise and how annoying it is. It's like, don't use memes.
Oh yeah.
To
Memes are
advertise
pure.
and, yeah, memes are
Don't
pure.
take this from me.
Yeah. But
So I personally feel it's a great idea. I don't have a problem with gambling.
No.
I mean,
we're gonna get. It's gonna generate a lot
yeah,
of money.
and that's exactly what I like. It's
That-
a source of income for the state that's
And
not
I
taxed
feel.
on me.
I mean, I remember seeing it on the news. I mean, I didn't do my research, but the portion of the money that's to go into the state was to fund like schools and.
Oh yeah, that's pretty standard stuff.
Right.
It's the you know, sugar to swallow the medicine kind of thing.
Right.
It's like, oh well, it's evils of gambling, but K through 8, you know, they are going to get $100 million more every year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, it'll fund outreach programs.
But if it does do that, I mean, that's.
Yeah, that's great. Again,
Right.
I feel in this country, in this state especially, we very underfund our public education. We're like 40.
my only other concern would be, and I'm not aware of this one, to do some research, but are the gambling companies themselves going to be Arizona? I'm guessing they would have to be Arizona-based companies, right?
No way. Because you're talking, like you said, MGM, Caesar,
You
I've
have
seen
right.
that name.
they're all-
Well,
There.
I just mean that they
No.
would have to have like
Not with the
some
kinds
kind
of legislature we have
headquarters
now.
And
So, like,
It'll be
on the app,
Yeah.
it tracks your location. It has to, or else it won't let you.
that
place
makes
it.
sense.
That's,
Yeah, so you can,
so that's, I think that's a way that they see, well, all these bets came from Arizona, even though they're going through
Yeah,
MGM and
yes.
Caesars. So when tax time, tax season comes, they know
yeah, all
what to
these
pay
bets
to Arizona, right?
Yeah, I imagine it's probably a lot like when you buy something through Amazon. You know, the Deuce did this recently, where now we pay state tax on online purchases. So where before you didn't pay anything, now you pay
Well,
whatever.
it was always a loophole for Amazon, and I was actually glad that they fixed that loophole.
Yeah.
It's like the internet companies
Sweetheart
got
deal,
special permission, not because it was back when e-commerce they felt it needed the boost, where now obviously it doesn't. People are more likely to buy things on Amazon. They should pay the local state taxes because those are going directly to their communities. Otherwise, the state just doesn't get that revenue, and it makes people more likely to shop in actual brick and mortar stores, which keep our local businesses alive as well.
Yeah, because it's, all of a sudden it's not a better deal.
Yeah.
Because it's the same price, but you have to pay tax on both. You know, it's like a wash.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm sure it'll be just like that. You know, they're going to make it so the schools get some, everybody gets some. And
Yeah. Well, you're not going to stop, vice. People are going to gamble. They're going to do, but
yeah, really tax those vices. That's where you want to make your money. You got to caffeine, sugar.
yeah, well, it's more
trans
effective
fats.
than making them illegal.
Oh yeah.
Because people still do them. Yeah, you might as well have it controlled.
Menthol, mint.
and-
Oh my God, double the cost.
Yeah.
Anything with mint, going to tax at 20%.
Why mint?
I don't know. I don't like it.
Um,
How about you? How do you feel?
about these, I like it.
Yeah,
I
sports
mean-
betting, sports books. I know you've already placed a couple of bets.
Yeah.
Is it something you're excited about?
It's fun. I mean, it does make, I watch football,
Yeah.
and it makes
Makes
fucking-
gamble. Yeah, it makes watching the game better because
You got
there
something
you're-
invested into
Yeah,
it.
you got a little
Yeah, you got that.
leather in the
Kids'
game.
college fund invested in it.
You better hope for it, boy. If we make the spread,
Yeah.
you're going to college.
So that, but I know later in the future you are going to hear those stories where somebody lost their house.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's
You can't
and
stop
that-
people.
right,
Bad
Yeah,
decisions.
those people will lose their house anyway.
right.
You can blame it on online betting all you want.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure if you lose your house to online betting, you're going to lose your house some way or another anyway.
Right, and but that that's going to come up
Yeah.
at one point or another. But I like it. It's easy to place a bet, and I think that's
Well, I'm
where
sure
they're
that's
gonna-
part of the hook. Yeah.
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 You sit at your home, make the game more interesting.
Because you don't even have to understand it.
I can bet on
when I
things I don't
first
even
started,
get.
I didn't quite understand because I've never done
Sports betting?
Right, and so like last night on the Giants and Washington football team,
Okay.
I put a $25 bet on the Giants, and they were +4, and I thought that they had to win with 4 points or more,
Yeah.
and they ended up losing, and I ended up winning money. So the Giants lost by 1 point.
All right.
The +4 is at 4 extra points on the Giants. So that means in the real world they lost by 1, but in the gambling scene they won
They won
by
by
3 points.
All right, I get it.
But I didn't know that at the time,
Yeah.
and I won money, and so I
You're
could
like
see-
all sad, and then, oh,
and then I checked my account. I was like, oh wait, why is it? I was like, and then I did my research that I probably should have done before placing the bet.
Well, I mean,
Like how-
$25 bet.
Yeah.
Right.
It's,
But I can see, I mean, how somebody
yeah.
can easily lose their money. if
Yeah,
they
well,
don't-
it's like we were talking about the E-Trade, not E-Trade, but what's the
Oh, like Robin Hood? Yeah.
Did
Back
you
Oh,
see that one
yeah.
where the kid
committed-
committed
Yeah.
suicide because he
Thought
thought he
lost
lost,
100 grand or something.
Right.
and it was an error on the app, and yeah, like I can see where people might accidentally like.
That's true.
But-
I mean, it's buyer beware.
Is
You
there
have to, you can't. These are adults. You have to be 21
You
or
have to be
older.
21.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you have to do again. You have to do your own research.
Are you able to cancel your bet as long as before the game?
Yes, you can.
As long as it's before the game starts.
So
Before the game
if you
starts,
mess up, yeah,
you can cancel it. But once the game starts, then
yeah,
you
no, that
can't
makes
cancel
sense. But yeah,
They're
if you made it
recording,
before
you know what?
and you decide to change your mind, it's nice that you can cancel.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, those are in future bets. And you can go in there, change it, cancel it, add more money, or whatever.
Do the odds and stuff change as
They
it gets
do.
closer to the game?
As each day goes by.
Is
the
it how
odds-
people bet, or is
Yeah,
it how
it is.
the teams do?
Or if, like,
like how the general
during
sports-
training,
Yeah.
you know, like their running back got hurt and now they're going to be out, so then the odds
The odds
change.
will change.
Right, but what you locked it in, that stays locked in. But
Yeah.
then if you go and change it and the odds have
Yeah.
already changed, then you get the new odds.
So if you're at a 4-1 bet, that something changes, it's a 2-1 bet. If you try to change your bet instead of 4-1, you get 2-1.
Well, I
because
think
that's the new.
because it only changes if it's better odds for you. If it's worse odds, they can't change your bet to worse odds unless you cancel it. That would
No, well, again, it's when you place your bet,
be,
at that time, it locks your bet
yeah.
at those stats.
Okay.
You know, and if, you know, a few days go by and something happens that changes those stats, yours won't change because you got locked it in at that time.
Yeah.
But if a new bet goes in, they won't get those previous stats, they'll get the new stats.
All right.
But yeah, sometimes the odds changing is better for you, sometimes it's worse. So it just depends
50-50.
well, because sometimes you'll end up earning more money, but it's a higher risk, and it could switch the other way where you're more like. Because sometimes when everybody bets on the same team,
Yeah.
then it makes it more attractive to bet on the other team, even though it might have been a 50-50 game. Just everybody's betting one way for something.
I had a funny one in here too about it. I noticed a grammatical error on the actual bill itself.
Nobody cares about your grammatical errors.
Yeah.
But it's a fucking, you're talking $250 million in the first goddamn year, and you can't get your goddamn, you can't get somebody to proofread your shit? It's like, give me a break. They put free.
They were in a rush. We
instead
gotta
of
get
fee.
this.
Yeah.
Football's
You
about
would
to
get it.
These
Football's about to
gamblers are
start.
salivating
We
it
gotta
around,
get
yeah.
this bill
They're
through.
gonna riot if you don't.
But we gotta check
Football
the
season
grammatical.
starts. Yeah.
Okay.
Get it out of there. You don't start it before.
We gotta get this up for a vote.
Yeah.
We gotta give it to them minutes before the vote so nobody has a chance to read it.
And it's before, and again, it was all football season. You gotta get it in before football starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
Yeah.
That's where you making that money.
Yeah.
What are they gonna bet on? Soccer? What are they gonna, with the Heat? What's the local game called? The
We
local
got Phoenix Rising,
Phoenix Rising.
LA Galaxy.
Oh God.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
I don't watch soccer. Don't make it a
You mean
racist.
football? Football.
Football.
Yeah. Foosball.
Anything else you want to add here?
Yeah.
All right, so this one's going to be a little bit different. This one's going to be more like PSA for drivers on the open road. I take a lot of trips. As you guys know, I take about a half a dozen trips a year, driving all over this wonderful country that we live in. And I find I run into a very common problem on the road, and it is incredibly aggravating to me. And it is slow traffic in the fast lane. So this segment, bid, PSA, whatever you want to call it, we'll call it slow traffic, keep right. And I want to say, if you're not passing somebody, you don't have to just stay in the right lane, right? If you're in the left lane and you're not driving that, that's fine. But if somebody gets behind you, like if people start backing up behind you and you're not willing to drive any faster, why not get over and let them around?
Yeah.
I don't
Fuck
understand.
'em, that's why.
Because it's the way it's been set up,
Yes.
and nobody talks about this. And I think people get their driver's license at a very young age, and so they don't really read into how our traffic system is set up, and then they grow up driving the way they fucking drove when they were young teenagers, and they never learn, and that's why we have the type of traffic that we have now. So you have 3 lanes, right, on the freeway,
Okay.
And
Sometimes 2. This is where I find slow traffic in the left.
And sometimes more.
Sometimes more. But
Right.
let's say 3.
So you got your right lane is usually for when you're either getting off the freeway or getting onto the freeway.
All right, that's fair.
Your center lane, they call that the traveling lane. That's if you have to go long distance, so you stay there. And then your left lane, that's for if you're speeding or you're going around people, and it's supposed to be kept. It's the passing lane, right? And it's supposed to be kept unoccupied as much as possible, so you can travel quicker.
Yeah, and you'll see that a lot.
But everybody use all the lanes as the traveling lane, and that's why you have so much congestion.
Yeah, because I hate the traffic that don't use the fast lane right either. But like to your point, that first lane where you're trying to merge in on and off the freeway also pisses me off. When people just sit in that lane and they don't want to let you in or out. You're like, I'm trying to get.
Yeah,
out.
I need to get on the freeway.
Why are you in this lane?
I have this much space.
You know,
to get on the
that
freeway.
also drives me.
But again, it goes back to my point that they don't know.
Yeah.
And you try to tell them.
You try to educate
Try
them on the
politely to
road.
honk your horn and they just don't get it.
You get up behind them and you
Well-
start flashing your lights, and if that doesn't work, you start honking.
Yeah,
And
that's
if
one
that
thing I
doesn't work,
really
you go
liked
around
about-
them and you don't bump them, but you go into their lane a little bit
Nudge
as
a
you're
little bit.
screaming out the window.
That's
Get
one
out
thing
of the fucking lane.
I really liked about Germany is you will actually get a ticket if you are in the fast lane
Oh.
and you're obstructing the
They
fast
already
lane.
have states here in
Yeah.
the U.S. that have that law.
We flew into Oregon, drove down the California coast. They specifically have turnouts because it's one lane either way. And if you get traffic behind you, they have places for you to pull off so the traffic can go around.
Yeah.
It's like a ticketable offense. If you get too many people backed up behind you and you don't pull over, boom, ticket. And it should be like that.
Well, hopefully, like we are lucky in Arizona. So a lot of our freeways are wide enough. It's just these fucking
In
people
town.
don't.
But once you get outside of the city proper, and it's depending on where you're taking a 79A, that's one lane either way for like 100 miles.
What were we on the other day? We were going to Prescott.
Yeah.
Yeah, you take the back
And you
way
get
up.
these trucks that try to pass each other in the like when there's 2 lanes.
Oh yeah.
They're uphill. And it's
Yes.
like, why are you trying to pass that guy? Like,
With
You-
semi-drivers.
But
Yeah.
Gary you were driving on the left lane for most.
I almost
I was going,
exclusively
like,
drive in the
85
left
miles
lane.
an hour.
doesn't matter. That's what
Yeah.
I was trying to tell you. Like, regardless of what your speed is, you're only supposed to use that to go around people. And once you've gone around, then go
yeah,
back
but
in.
there was like tons of on that one. There's like tons of traffic,
And-
and yeah, like people like I didn't have like people stacked up behind me.
Yeah, and I'll
weren't gonna
back
go
Gary up
faster
on
than
that
me.
too, because I myself spend a lot of time in the left lane.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to just hot frog people all the day. But if somebody, my wife calls me the fastest slow driver, because I pass a bunch of people, but then there's some people that I'm just not going to drive that fast.
Right.
And if I see somebody coming up behind me, I get over.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And I'll stay in the left lane because I don't want to have to merge back and forth a dozen times because I'm going to fly by all those people. But there's still people that they drive faster than I do, and I'll see them coming. It's not like do you not use your review mirror? Do you not know somebody's behind you? If somebody gets like that for me, I'll get over.
Yeah.
I'll usually see them coming up because I'm like, oh shit, somebody's catching up to me on the freeway.
Yeah.
Some of those people they'll get in the right lane to pass somebody, and it takes them forever to get around. Like, and you're like, what do you like? Get up, speed around them, and then get over.
And then slow down,
But
yeah.
they take forever, like passing, 1 or 2 cars, and yeah, it's the people with trailers that drive me the most crazy.
I know what you mean. The toy haulers,
Yeah.
the freaking they got their giant RV or their stupid toy hauler because you can tell the whole back comes down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're driving their souped up Ram 5000 or whatever. But for all the good it does you, while you're always slowing up traffic, then I get to go around this Ryder truck because somebody's in a U-Haul that can't drive over 55.
Yeah.
And then they're my God, blowing their engine out trying to get around them.
They say a good gauge as to if someone's being an asshole or if you're being an asshole.
Yeah.
That if you have one car behind you, that guy's being an asshole, like right in your ass.
Yeah.
But if you have a line of cars behind you,
Yeah.
You
All right.
may
Yeah,
wanna
that's perfectly
check the-
fair.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
may
Well,
want to
some
look
people
in the mirror.
like act like because they'll have a car in front of me, but when I'm going that fast, when I'm going over 80, I don't tailgate people. And some people like expect you to tailgate the car in front of you where you're going too slow. And I said, no, I'm going over 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, you're gonna give yourself a good 5-10.
Yeah, like the traffic is moving. Like just because you want to go slightly faster, but if you're going that much over the speed limit, then
well, and that's something too, because I do speed quite often, but I only feel safe driving about 80, 85. That's like my top.
Yeah.
So
Same.
sometimes I'll drift a little above that if like on a downhill or I'm not really paying attention. But for the most part, I'm 80, 85.
Yeah.
And that's where like I'll pass a lot of people doing 80, 85. But then there's people that come up on me, and it's like I'll get them.
Yeah.
Just get out of the way. Or what makes me mad is then you try to go around them, right? Because they're driving slow in the passing, fast lane, whatever. So you try to go around them, then they speed up.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, why? If you wouldn't drive any faster when I was behind you, why are you doing it now when I'm trying to get around you?
Yeah, because a lot of times I'll have my cruise control on, and you'll let them over because they act like they want to go really fast because they keep fucking getting on you, and then I get back over, and then I throw up my cruise control because now they're going fucking 70, and it's like, why did you? You were acting like when I was going 80, I haven't changed my speed.
What's that phrase? Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah, and it feels like that with other drivers.
Maybe that's their, that's how they get their kicks.
It's funny, that's what Steph says. She literally says they just do it because they want control over somebody else. Yeah. Because whatever in their life, they have no control. So by them making you have to go around, by them doing this, by them doing that, and affecting you, and it's like, well, that makes me even angry. I don't know what to say. It doesn't help.
They feed off of that.
Who sings that song? I'm an asshole. Where he's like, I drive 45 in the ultra fast lane. I'm an asshole.
I don't get heard that song.
No, I don't know if I'm familiar with that one, but I do like the sentiment behind it.
Don't sing it too much, or it's really making fun of it.
Yeah.
Well, I felt that that's not the case. I felt that's not the case at all. That people, it's not that they are trying to have control or whatever. It's that they just are so oblivious to it. It's that it doesn't affect them. They're like, this is as fast as I drive. This is the lane I'm driving in. Yeah. I don't care. They don't even notice. Yeah. That's why I'll shoot them the lights. That's why I'll give it a honk or two. There
are some inconsiderate drivers as part of it. There's irresponsible drivers, and there's, I don't know. I was at oblivious. They don't know they don't see what's going on around them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I feel. It's a lot more of that.
I was at Costco the other day to fill up, and there was an Escalade in front of me. And I didn't notice it at first because it takes a while for people to gas up. And there were two cars in front of us gassing up, and then there was the Escalade and myself. And this lady was putting her Escalade in park, and then hopping into the back seat.
Because she's got the TV back there.
I don't know. It was a brand new Escalade.
So there's probably the
TVs
on the back of the things.
But how? I mean, why? Why would you?
Yeah.
And then then the lanes moved, and of course she jumped back in front, put it in drive, drove forward, put it in, and then hopped back to the back. I'm like, why? Like, what if you bump put it into drive by accident as you're hopping over to go in the back of the.
Well, it's like you can't wait for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
9 or 10.
Well, then yeah.
I put my car in park because I don't want to sit there with my foot on the brake the whole time.
Yeah.
But I don't jump in the back seat.
She's jumping into the back seat. I've never seen that before. That was the first time. What's
you have a smartphone. It's not like back in the day we had
no
no entertainment options.
Yeah. You can just watch it on your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's so bad, just put it on the dashboard.
Then she started pumping gas, right? And I was driving the F-250.
Okay.
And so I ended up pumping like $75 worth of gas. Yeah. And she was still pumping, supposedly. And I'm like, I'm finished. Like I can see that it's about to click. And I look over, and her handle's still in there, in her gas tank. I'm like, there's no way that Escalade has, a bigger gas tank. And then I finish up. And I put the handle back, I look over, it's still in there. She wasn't pumping gas. It was just in there.
She was just pretending.
It was in there and it had already clicked. I don't know how long ago.
She's in the back seat again.
She was in the back seat again. I kid you not. I was like, what the? You know, and it was
unless you're having sex back there in between.
that's what I thought. I was like, maybe they're, you know, one of those. Well, I mean, it wasn't rocket, so I don't think it was.
Probably something about Prince Harry or something stupid. The Ice-T show, whatever the fuck that was called again.
I don't know, but
Nobody watched it.
yeah. Again, it goes back to
Inconsiderate or whatever.
right.
Bad
And
drivers.
it took forever to get out of the.
Yeah,
And I didn't say anything. I didn't honk my horn. I mean, because I already,
Well,
you know, I already
the other
pumped
thing
my
that drives me
gas.
crazy at Costco
Already got
There
out
was
of
the people behind me. And, you know,
And
blasting
these
air.
fucking people that always go where the gas tank's on the opposite side.
all the
It's
time.
like,
I don't get
and
that.
they're like yanking the fucking hose, and then they're trying to do it, and they're wondering why it's like not. It keeps clicking because it's like, you know, you have pressure on it. It won't. So they're
Yeah,
like
yeah. It's
got a
having to
sensor.
pull the hose down
Right.
as they're like pumping gas, and you're like, why did you come in this fucking lane? Like, you can tell it's their car. You know, like.
Wonder what's the ratio from tank openings on the left and right side? If there's more on, you know, manufacturers that make.
Well, yours is
I
on
think
the
it's
driver's
an
side, mine's
American
the opposite.
car thing. So they put it on
No.
the driver's side.
I don't think so.
I think that's why,
Because-
because foreign cars, it's been my experience that American cars are all on the one side. And even
Well,
foreign cars that
maybe
you
it is.
buy in America.
No, because the F-150, the F-250 that I have, they're all on the left side.
Huh.
My wife's Ford Explorer is on the right side.
So the
And when
work
I
trucks
drive
are on
the
the left
car,
side, but
I get confused because I'm so used to going, you know, to the
yeah,
right.
'cause
to
my
pump gas.
work trucks are
And I'll
on
do
the
that
left
with her.
side,
I'm
too.
like, I got to back up and go.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of
That
what I
lady that
noticed.
just keeps going.
is
back
why-
and forth. I can't figure out why can't I get on the right side? Yeah.
I remember that video.
Yeah, it keeps doing it. Back
Yeah.
up.
then she like gets out to
'Cause
like
she's
oh.
on this side and then drives around, but then it's still on the wrong side.
Yeah, I've
And
seen
then-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, those people are really crazy. Yeah, 'cause you see them, they take twice as long because they're like
Mhm.
fighting with the fucking pump. And
But that's oblivious.
Yeah.
So that's one of them. So it's like a three-pronged thing. They're bad drivers, they're oblivious, and then some of them are just jerks.
Uh-huh. Absolutely.
So we would hope a PSA may, in the future, help people stay out of the fast lane or the passing lane. If you're going to drive slow,
Yeah.
or
yeah,
if
the million viewers
if
watching this video.
yeah, right. If you want to
Stay out
drive
of
in the
goddamn
fast lane
fast
to
lane.
feel like a fast driver, that's fine. But if somebody gets behind you, get out of the way. You know, it's not their job to go around you. It's your job not to hold them up.
Yeah.
It's just polite, considerate, human being things to do. You don't hold the door
It's
closed.
crazy, Jay.
You open the door for the next person. Like, what the
Slam it right in their
fuck?
face. You would act like you're gonna open it for them, and when they come up, you just
Yeah, I'll hold it for a second,
Yeah.
and then close it and lock it, and be like, no.
kick it and you walk away.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, save me, Jesus.